there's no reason to build a product if you're not going to have a customer. So the connection of product and customer is actually what should be driving product roadmap in the first place. Actually, AI makes it even more exciting. AI is helping product leads consume and summarize and filter through a lot of data and easier. And every decision that is made from my perspective as a product person needs to be data-led and fact-based. And the AI capabilities help you get more information in and you make much better decisions as a result of that. So on the flip side of just having more, you also have more information and you can determine that there are some things that we should not be investing in faster. Sometimes you spend a lot of time investing in things that you didn't need to or you shouldn't have, and you don't get the payback and you've burnt months. With AI, you can fail fast because you only got so many knobs to turn, right? It's resources, time, and money. You only got 3 really that you're turning right. So once you've established that this is critical to the strategic vision and goals of the company, then it's our job, along with our tech partners and marketing partners, to go and figure out how do we get this done? And when do we need to have it done to achieve the goal of the business?
Hi, today I have with me Carlisha Robinson. She is the former Chief Product Officer of Beyond. And first of all, Carlisha, I want to say congratulations on being one of their top Chief Product Officers this year.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So exciting.
And oh, good. Yeah, I understand you may have an update on what you're up to. Would love to hear all about that. Why don't we spend a second and have you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you did at Beyond, what Beyond did, and then and maybe your journey to Chief Product Officer. And then if you want to give us a quick update on where you've landed, that would be amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. So I was at Beyond for about 3 years. Beyond is a retail organization. It's a company umbrella now for the company that owns Overstock, Bed Bath & Beyond, formerly a company called Zulily, all kind of acquisitions, and now Bye Bye Baby. So in my journey there, Beyond was not a Beyond yet. I went to Overstock as Chief Product Officer, which was really exciting. And in that period of time at Beyond, we acquired the bankrupt Bed Bath & Beyond, the digital assets for that, and then merged the two companies together, and then began a house of brands for retail e-commerce for home furnishing. So really exciting times. It was a lot of transition and a lot of change in the way we approached our e-commerce sites. I was responsible for a digital transformation from a legacy home-built e-commerce system that our sites were operating from to introducing Shopify into our stack so that we could have more flexibility and spin our businesses up faster. So lots of exciting things that happened in that time frame at now what is called Beyond. Currently, post Beyond, I am really focused on lending my expertise that I've had over 30 years of experience, and 25 of that being in product management as a fractional Chief Product Officer. This is where I get to help organizations that are not able to afford my expertise to bring me on full time, but need the direction of a truly focused product roadmap. So I'm working as a consultant in that space for my own company. So I'm the CEO of Me, and the company is CBR Ventures LLC. So very exciting.
Awesome. Well, it's an exciting transition, and I think this has all happened pretty recently.
Yeah. Just over the last couple of months.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Awesome. I did a little stalking, I'm not going to lie, to prepare for our interview. I did notice that you held the simultaneous role of Chief Customer Officer officer, sorry, get that out, and chief product officer, which I don't see very often. I would love a little color on like how those two roles complemented each other and worked together
Yeah.
when you were at Beyond.
Yeah. So one of the things that is really true in my mind is that there's no reason to build a product if you're not going to have a customer. So the connection of product and customer is actually what should be driving product roadmap in the first place. Who are we building this for? What value are we bringing to them? How do we keep them happy and satisfied and coming back again and again? So the reason why the chief product and the chief customer officer role came together at Beyond is because we had acquired multiple businesses and multiple different customer data sets, and we were building a common product thread across. So how do we marry the two and make sure that we're not building product that our customers are not, won't appreciate or love? So putting those roles together meant that there was an uber focus on the customer experience and on the customer loyalty and retention focus, and that gave us more direction into what we needed to have in our product roadmap for what we built on site and what kind of products we built on site. So that's why those two things came together. It was an uber focus on the customer itself.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you for clarifying that. And it actually makes really sense because most of the chief product officers I talk to, they they say customer value is at the center of what they do. So bringing those two roles together in kind of one executive makes a lot of sense. You've been doing what you're doing for you know a, a minute, a hot minute. I don't say a very long time because I don't want to imply anything, but you have a lot of experience that you bring to the table. I would love your perspective on how that role has morphed from your lens over the last 3 years or so.
Yeah, I think, and I would say even a little bit longer than the last 3 years, but I think the role of product officer, whether it's a chief officer or SVP or whatever, has morphed to be much closer to the business. It is actually grown up, um, and matured into a role that is at the head of the business, and you really have a much stronger tie into the actual and overall and ultimately strategy of the company. And so I think that is seeing that role mature. I've been in it before it was this mature, and understanding now the business mind that you have as a product leader um, has always been the value of a product leader. It's not just the ability to build a roadmap and write requirements and and deliver product. It is, how does that product achieve the ultimate strategy and goal of the company itself? So I think it's just matured and it's much closer to the top of the company than it used to be. And I think, and Renee, you will probably remember this as well in your experience. It used to be so tightly coupled to tech.
Right.
You're so tightly coupled to tech. Sometimes product managers reported into the engineering, VP or engineering lead, and eventually the reality that this is a business role, not just a technical role, became really clear. And now I think that we've matured in our contribution to the business by being more closely tied to the business strategy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you answered what my follow-on question was going to be, which is what is it more from? And it really has more from that, or like it's super narrow.
Hmm.
What am I delivering? How can I deliver it to what business value creation are we
Yes.
creating? And so yeah, your role in or, around the board table even is really expanded
Yes.
greatly from that vantage point. I love that I love that answer. Obviously, product management itself, not just leadership, has changed. Uh, you know, over the last 5 years, but especially over the last 18 months with the use of AI. I guess I would love your perspective on how you would define, we're going to say, product management 2025. What does
Yeah.
that look like
Yeah.
through your lens?
Um, it actually AI makes it even more exciting. I think product management itself, just the scope of the role is very exciting alone. But the thing that we've always been challenged with as a product lead is the amount of data that you have to consume to make a good decision. Well, with the help of AI and all of the large language models and all of the automation that you can get from that, AI is helping product leads consume and summarize and filter through a lot of data and easier. And every decision that is made from my perspective as a product person needs to be data led and fact based. And the AI capabilities help you get more information in and you make much better decisions as a result of that. It also, on the other end of that, when I think about it from the product side, I also go to the customer side of that. And it allows you to actually get a lot more interaction and engagement with your customer as well, because there are a lot of tools and things that you can use to actually get real time feedback about your product from the end user and have real actionable feedback and information as a result of that. And I think that's phenomenal. So those are two of the ways that AI has really leveled up the product, the ability to get to that data and make good decisions.
Yeah. I'm always curious on the impact of AI in kind of over the short term. A recent research, by the way, came back, and we'll be publishing this shortly here, but that the speed of product development, broadly speaking, has increased 4x. So not doubled, not tripled, but quadrupled in
Mhm.
terms of either throughput or reduced speeds in time to market. If you were to look at like AI in the world of product management, is it speed that it's improving? Is it quality it's improving? Like, like, what's the impact? Is it having
I I I think it has really just like any other transformative tech that comes out. It always improves kind of the basic things, productivity, quality, makes things faster. I think that's always what you get when something transformative like AI happens. But I think the value though is not so that you can just do things faster. It's actually so that you can do the right things better and faster. So on the flip side of just having more, you also have more information and you can determine that there are some things that we should not be investing in faster. Sometimes you spend a lot of time investing in things that you didn't need to or you shouldn't have, and you don't get the payback and you've burnt months. Well, with AI, you can fail fast. You can try things very quickly and then determine, no, this is not the right thing. Our customers did not really take to that, and we don't need to invest more in that. And you can move on to something else really quickly. So I love the concept of AI helping you fail faster because you're not wasting time anymore. You're actually getting more quickly to the things that are going to be more valuable to your strategic vision and to your customers.
Yeah, I love that idea of failing fast. Um, kind of along that same vein, I've been hearing a lot about a lot of chief product officers in particular talk about the cadence of innovation. It just going so rapidly at the moment. Like, how do you think about investing in innovation, and how do you make sure that you're investing the proper amount so that it's not over investing on the future and under investing on the short term or vice versa?
Well, I think you have to always just first seek to understand what is the capability that is coming out and how mature is it for the industry and for the products that you have, right? And a lot of times you'll see so much happening, but it might not be um, ready for your product and your industry. So I think you have to first seek to understand what is it and where is it applicable. And then you pay attention as it continues to evolve and grow, where the application is getting into like your space. So you need to track it and kind of keep. You almost need to stalk it. Like how does this impact me, so that you are then when you're building your roadmaps, you can say 6 months from now, we need to start bringing in this technology. And so start looking at the companies and the tools that you're using that may be leveraging it. How do you take it like in small chunks? Because there's a lot of education, especially with AI, that has to come into play. There's a lot of education. You have to think about security risks. You have to think about the privacy of your internal information. There are a lot of things that you have to consider so you don't just jump out there too quickly, but you also don't want to find yourself on your heels waiting too long to adopt and adapt. So I really lean towards incremental inclusion of things and in the right spots, because not everything is ready for that adoption, at the same time. So I just think that's the way we have to take things. You don't knock down all the walls in your house, at the same time. You figure out when you're doing a remodel, which one is supporting, where are the support beams, which one is structural. These are the things that we don't need to tear down as we remodel this thing and build things around. So you always want to make sure that you're bringing things in an incremental way and in places that are going to actually bring you value.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's not always clear.
Mhm.
How do you balance that stuff that's kind of on the line and you're not sure? And
Yeah. So there are a number of things that you think about, especially in the chief role, because you're not just over the full product set of the company. You got a bunch of people too that that you're working with. So sometimes,
oh, that that
yeah,
thing.
all the people. So sometimes you think about, how can I use the technology to help my people be more productive or help my people get more things done? And it's not about something that's going to be exposed to your consumer yet through your product. So sometimes you're thinking about it from that lens, like how can we, like I mentioned earlier, being able to process more information to make better decisions is an internal thing that happens first. And you need to train people and the people learn, how the technology can help. Other times it may be on the other end of that, like in my customer role, it is we want to be able to get more feedback about the process of shopping on our site from our customers throughout the process. Well, AI can help you interject some of those feedback loops in a way that is not only not disruptive, but also very personalized. So customers like to believe that you know exactly who I am when I'm shopping on your site. So that personalization that the AI tools can help you do, well, that's something that you can get into your products very easily without disrupting your full roadmap, without, with very little um development time to get done, but you can get a whole ton of valuable information from that little bit of work. And sometimes it's put the small thing in so you can get the big insight, and then build towards those things that are going to be the big uh execution of a larger project. And then the last thing I'll say is sometimes you're choosing to replace products that you use to operate your business with newer solutions that have already done the adoption of the system. So we were switching out our telephony system for another solution that had more AI capabilities already built into it. So a lot of those decisions get made kind of along the way with your people, your product, and the tools and solutions that you use to operate.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. When it comes to actually incorporating new technologies as a part of your platform, if you will. Um, what has been your philosophy? If you were to look at things through a lens, like, hey, we'll make it from scratch. B, we'll go
Mm.
partner and buy something, or maybe on the total other extreme, maybe we'll just go, acquire a company and
Right.
and bring it in wholesale. Like and you don't have to use just beyond, but what has been your
Yeah.
philosophy on how to navigate that spectrum?
Yeah. Well, I always start back at the business. Why are we doing what we're trying to do in the first place? How important is this um, to the strategy?
Yeah.
And how important is it in the strategy? Because you only got so many knobs to turn, right? It's resources, time, and money. You only got three really that you're turning right. So once you've established that this is um, critical to the strategic vision and goals of the company, then it's our job, along with our tech partners and marketing partners, all right, to go and figure out how do we get this done and when do we need to have it done to achieve the goal of the business. And those are the things that are going to determine, even if we could build it and we might be able to build it better, we don't have time to build it, or it's going to cost us too much, too much time and, resources and cost. So we're always balancing what it is and what's the why, how does it support the company vision overall, and then when do we need it. If we build it, are we going to miss a window and our competitors are going to run past us while we're building, right? Or is the technology that you may want to license or acquire, is it so advanced that you will actually get further ahead by spending the money and not using the resources and cutting down time to go and acquire? So I think you always have to look at what's the risk and reward for the decision, and then you make the best choice based on that, recognizing that no matter which direction you take, you're giving up something. You're always it's not always a win-win. I think it's a win-win, and that last win is a little bit smaller than the first one, right? Because you gave up something, to get that. So I think I always approach things that I approach my life that what as well. Like, if I eat this piece of cake, what is that going what is that going to
Oh, you don't want to go
for?
there. Eat the cake. Yum.
The cake, it'll make me happy. So yeah.
Understood. Yeah, I think that's a really balanced viewpoint. Thank you for going on that side tangent with me.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, given the fact that you had both chief product officer and chief customer office lens that you were balancing. Some people say that sometimes if you're too customer driven, then you're too reactive.
Mhm.
I'd love your perspective on how you kind of balance the, you know, being
Yeah.
responsive to your customer, yet, being thoughtful enough that you're
Yeah.
not just building for the next 30 days, that you're building for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the customer is an input to the decision process. It's a very important input, but it's not the only one. So what you want to do in reacting to your customer is help the customer understand that you heard them, that they were listened to and they were heard. That doesn't mean that you have to go and do something right away, right? So I'm always listening for the volume, right? Are thousands of customers saying that? Are there hundreds of customers screaming about that? And whether that's an individual B2C customer, they bought something on the site and we ship something to them, or if it's a B2B customer, we're building solutions that other businesses use to run their business. Either way, you're listening for the volume of the feedback from the customer, and not just a single customer. I always when I do my roadmap talks with my team, and anyone that hears this, that was, oh, there she goes again. I always believe in kind of the 80-20 rule and the 70-30 piece, because 80% of your roadmap is really around the strategic vision that you're marching towards, and those are the things that you need to get done because this is going to set us up for where we're trying to go as a company. But you've got to leave that 20% or that 30%. Sometimes it depends on where you are in the maturity of the product, and the solutions to do things that just slide in that need to happen because it's just going to make the experience better, right? So I always leave room for us to pull something in that's just, we've been hearing about this, our customers have been saying it, we've got a solution for it, and now let's add that into the mix without disrupting the core roadmap. So I believe in leaving space for adapting to what you're hearing from the customer, and being able to slide some things in that'll just give you some goodwill with your customer, without disrupting the goodwill with your CEO and your board. So
Yeah, 100%. So I really appreciate kind of that model thinking. We used to call it, 20% fungible capacity.
hmm
And we used it for exactly as you described, but we were never perfect at estimating what work would, require. And it also gave you a little bit of flexibility if something was a little bit, hard to deliver than
yeah,
she thought.
yeah, 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 for sure.
That's called in the sales. I think that's called sandbagging in the sales world, but we're not going to tell anybody. But yeah, I think that's smart. I think that's smart to have a little bit of reactive capacity if you can. I know a lot of CPOs I talk to just like, I don't have that extra 20%. I
Yeah, if you
40%
fill
that's
yourself up, and
plenty.
yeah, you fill
It's
yourself up to 100%, then there's no room at the top of that glass for for you to drop a cube of ice in there. It's just going to it's just gonna spill over. So you have to be,
what a great visual. I'm
yeah.
loving that. What w- w- how do you think about metrics, right? And kind of all of this changing, evolving world. Obviously, in the world of e-commerce, I have to imagine revenue is king. But are there other metrics that you hold your teams accountable? And yeah, just tell me more.
First of all, I love a good metric. Not that I love all metrics, I love a good metric. I think metrics in general, my philosophy on metrics are you have to have agreed upon um, KPIs and metrics that you're going to measure your productivity about, across period. Are we doing well, or are we not doing well? Just to have something to measure against. You have to have metrics that you use to help measure how you're doing against your overall goals. So those are important, and I think they vary by industry, as well. One of the metrics that I really like to measure from a product perspective is some of the ones that I really focus on in my retail role was around conversion, um, and um, and conversion rate when you're an e-commerce retailer is really important, and it was important to me as a product manager because customers come to our site and they click through and they shop for things, and at the end you want them to buy something, right? So that's important, but the real metric in my customer role was lifetime value. you know how many times is that customer gonna come back and the repeat rate, come back and shop with us, and then are they what's their value to us as a customer? Are they spending over and over and over again, um which is really important, an important metric. From the pure product perspective, then I'm always tracking kind of our release cadence. How much work and features and products that we're actually getting done and through and released to into the wild, is really an important metric when you're talking about your release cadence. So yeah, those are the ones.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Well, sadly, we are nearing the end, which means it's time for our quick questions and answers. Are you ready?
Okay.
Awesome. All right. First question. What makes a great product leader?
Someone who thinks relationships is more important than the product itself.
Ooh,
People.
interesting lens. I like it. Okay. What's your favorite tool and why?
Ah, my favorite tool. This is crazy. I know, and this is probably really old school. Jira. Jira is Jira is one of my favorite because it's a tool that not only I use as a product manager, but it's a communication vehicle to all the way through to my engineers and QA, team. So it's the technical conversation happening inside. So I love Jira.
Last question for you. Are you reading or listening anything interesting right now?
I am reading a book called Choosing Greatness. And it is a book by Christina Curtis. She used to be an executive coach for us at Beyond, and she wrote this book, and it's pretty powerful. So I'm sipping my tea in the morning and reading Choosing Greatness as I do it. So very very inspirational. Yeah.
Amazing. Listen, Carlisha, it's been wonderful spending some time with you. I really appreciate all your insights. And I just want to thank you for spending the time with me. And congratulations once again on being one of our top CPS this year.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, and it was great talking to you, Renee. Very, very fun.